The four of us have found each other. All the BB you can get.
And there it is. It didn't take long.
For the video dad, it's like, hey, that's my spot.
Yeah.
I don't need you to move that net.
Someone want to bail me out here?
It's fun to watch you score.
Matt took me in like a stray dog.
And now that stray dog is turned into a beautiful steed. Welcome everyone to the first live Video Volleyball Dads podcast.
All right.
I'm one of four hosts, Dan. I'm here with Travell, Jim, otherwise known as Jamazing.
Jamazing.
Hello.
Our Matt, who's our number one Sydney Hilley fan. If you guys haven't figured out who's going to be on tonight.
That was supposed to be a surprise.
Yeah. I guess it's not a surprise now. I mean, it is in the title.
And you didn't give me. I didn't get noticed to prepare myself. I'd have made me a hat too, man.
I know. Well,
you got to be super creative for this stuff.
Matt likes to take that step above. He's the guy that takes credit for everything. When everybody
what? No, I'm just a big deal. I just try to let everybody know that I'm a big deal. You know,
you are a big deal, Matt.
That'll be your name next week. Big deal.
Big. All right. All right.
Yes, I agree. So for everybody that's tuning in, we are creating a bi-monthly podcast for volleyball moms and dads. We're going to talk about all fun things that we do. We're going to talk about some serious stuff. We're going to have some guests on. We might not have guests on. We might just have a bunch of opinions. Nonetheless,
we got those.
We have a lot of those. We definitely don't have all the answers, but we do have a lot of opinions.
Yes,
so,
we do.
Other than that, I think we should get right into it.
Let's jump into it.
We should probably talk about the Facebook page.
Yes.
The Volleyball Dads Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Go check it out there. We do a lot of dad things there. We talk about cool things. I don't know. Things that don't necessarily revolve around volleyball, but have to do with the travel and the food and the cocktails.
It'll make your life easier, I promise.
Yeah, we've all been doing this a combined amount of probably 25 years?
Probably.
Have we ever added that up?
I don't know.
No.
I'm throwing
I don't think we've ever added that up. We might
as long as there's nobody that calls out on it.
I don't add these things up.
I've got 10
I'm not
fingers
good at
I can
math.
use. I can use 10 fingers, so
you're
going to have to take off from there,
10 plus years. We're good. We're good. So, Matt, what's in store for this evening?
Hey, guys, we have an amazing guest on for our premiere show, the launch tonight. We have the National Championship setter for the Wisconsin Badgers, Sydney Hilley.
Should I bring her on now?
Let's bring her on.
Let's
bring her on. Let's go.
Sydney, welcome.
Hey.
Sydney.
We are very excited to have Sydney Hilley with us. I'm going to share a brief bio. And by brief bio, I mean maybe a quarter of all of her accomplishments because the list is long. We've got an hour, so we're going to jump right into it and hit some of the high points. She is a four-time team captain for the Wisconsin Badgers. She is she's won 3 Big Ten championships. She was part of the team that brought home the first national championship for the Badgers in school history. She is a 3-time first-team All-American, a 3-time Big Ten Setter of the Year. She is the first volleyball player in school history to be a first-team academic All-American, a 4-time All-Big Ten, 4-time academic All-Big Ten, 3-time Big Ten Distinguished Scholar, and she ranks 4th in school history for assists, 5th in assists per set, and 5th for double-doubles. Wow, that is incredible.
Insane.
Hey,
is there anybody better? I mean, how are we supposed to top this show after that?
I have no idea.
I mean,
they're definitely not rookie numbers.
Right. She may have been doing this for a little while, but that's not even the best stat. We have a way better stat than that. She was busy doing all this stuff. That took a lot of work, tons and tons of effort. But while doing all that, she earned a master's in applied biotechnology. She got a bachelor's in genetics and genomics. I don't even know what that is. It sounds like geometry, and I took geometry in the 8th grade, so maybe there's still hope for me. I don't know. And then she also has a certificate in entrepreneurship. That in itself is absolutely amazing. Congratulations on those accomplishments with the academics while bringing home the national championship. That's incredible. Congratulations, Sydney.
Thank you. By the way, it's genomics.
Well, I was thinking,
like a garden gnome.
It's not.
Sydney, I'm your number one fan. You can't call me out like that.
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with genome.
Yeah.
Genome. Yes.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go.
Wait, what's a genome?
Yeah.
A genome to me sounds like she's gonna, and this degree sounds like she's probably gonna build the biodome around Mars, where we're all gonna live in the next generation. That's kind of what this
Interstellar.
Interstellar. Is that what this is?
Nothing to do with space. All about your DNA.
That's space.
All about DNA. All right. Well, my geometry,
we're all about D&D here, so that was a joke. That was the first one.
That was the first dad joke. We should have a counter. Everybody drank.
Well, they'll get better. They'll get better.
Yes.
Well, we
gotta get one.
They definitely don't.
Well, Sydney, those are absolutely amazing accomplishments, and you did all that while in college. Playing for the Badgers. I really want to take a little bit of time and just talk about your experience there while at Wisconsin. I think Dan's probably got some questions for you about your college experience and everything.
Being a Wisconsin native, I've watched Wisconsin volleyball for a long time because my oldest is actually a freshman in college right now at UW Platteville. And so we've been doing volleyball since she was 11. So it's been one of those gradual things. So you have been in on our television set and in conversations for at least the last 4 years. Can you, as far as your college career, I know there's a lot of games you've played. What would you say your toughest opponent was playing for the Badgers?
Yeah,
and it can be anybody. I mean, a single, a team, a coach, yourself. I mean, what was your toughest opponent the 4 years that you were playing for Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, being in the Big Ten, you have so many tough opponents all the time. But I actually looked up the team I lost to the most over my 5-year career, and it was University of Minnesota. So we lost to them 4 times. We played them 9 times. But they were just always, border battle rival, Big Ten rivals. But they have a really tough system to defend. They serve really well. They run a fast offense. So it was always a battle when we played them. And I was a Minnesota fan growing up, so whenever I got to go play at the PAV at Minnesota, I always had a ton of people come watch, and that was really fun, but they were definitely our biggest rival for sure.
Do you think that had anything to do with it, that was your home state and that was your...
Maybe a little, but we had a girl who transferred from Minnesota to Wisconsin, Lauren Barnes. She was our libero, and so there was always kind of like a personal rivalry after that as well.
Awesome. As far as, obviously you won the championship. And I'm going to bring this back to state because you won state championship too in high school, correct?
No, I got second in state.
Oh, second.
Yeah, that's
my bad. So this kind of doesn't throws it off. I guess I was reading that wrong. So what was it like to win the state championship? Like, how were you feeling beginning, during, after? Like, what was it like to win the state championship?
Well, I don't know what it's like.
The national championship, not the
national.
State.
There you go.
My bad. I got excited again. My bad.
No, but the national championship, that as a whole was just unbelievable. I mean, my recruiting class going into Wisconsin, we talked about it. Like, our number one goal was to do something that this program has never done before, which was to win a national championship. And so every day we kind of went in to practice, lifts, film sessions, whatever it is, with that goal on our mind. And so to finally be able to accomplish that in my senior year after being granted a COVID year, so I got 5 tries to do it. It really was super exciting, but also I had like a sense of relief just because I feel like I wanted it so bad for my teammates, the girls who came before me and kind of laid the foundation down for Wisconsin volleyball. And then our coaches, like I felt like it was so well deserved by all of them that it was just like, yes, I did it for them. We did it for them. It was like a team mentality. And I don't know, I couldn't have ended my career any better than that.
How often do you go back and relive those moments? Sorry, I got excited. I just got to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do, just because that moment was so special. Like when we finally won and I got to look into my teammates' eyes and just see how happy they were. I see my coach Kelly sitting on the bench sobbing because he's so happy. And it's just like those emotions, it feels good to relive those for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Sydney, how did you keep that goal? I mean, that's a big goal. How do you keep that fresh year after year and then day after day? How do you do that?
Yeah, we talked a lot at Wisconsin about remembering your why, like why you play, because sometimes you have practice every single day, you have lifts every single day, and you kind of like start going through the motions and you forget why you do it. But if you walk into that locker room every single day and think about why you're there in that moment, I think it helps you just be motivated to get 1% better every single day when you actually have that goal in the back of your mind. Like you're envisioning that dog pile at the end with the confetti falling. It makes you want to work just a little bit harder all the time.
So did y'all do like visualization exercises where you were imagining the dog pile, the confetti, the loud cheering and everything?
Yeah, for sure. We actually had a mindfulness coach where we did a lot of visualization stuff, whether that was before a game, like seeing us have success against a certain team or seeing a scouting report, but definitely envision the national championship moment. And I mean, that's what we were all playing for. So I think that we always like to have that little vision in the back of our minds.
Yeah, that is incredible. Really awesome. In the fifth set, it was 2-2, right? Mm-hmm. And in the fifth set, Wisconsin goes up really quickly, 7-0. In that moment, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is stay in the moment. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Like there's still a ton of game left. Take it 1 point at a time. Because if you're sitting there like, 7-0, like there's no way we can lose this, that's when they're going to get you. And you expect it to be a battle for sure. I mean, it's Nebraska, which is always a battle, and it's a national championship. They're not going to go down without fighting. So it was all about just like staying in the moment, 1 point at a time.
Yeah, and I rewatched the game this past weekend. I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. I watched it. They had it on TV.
Is it like the 10th time or 20th time you watched it?
It's probably about the third or fourth, honestly. Okay. I'm honestly like, hey, I've watched it several times, guys. Hey, can I share a funny story?
Absolutely.
Before I ask the rest of that question.
Absolutely.
So, before the show, we talked about me being a pretty big deal, right?
Yes.
So I think you said something about that.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep it on the lowdown, right? So I set up some time to talk to Sydney suddenly. Call her up. She answers, and she, the first thing she said to me?
Hi.
Well, maybe. I don't want to say this. Come closer, so I don't say it too loud.
Okay.
But she said, I hung up with my boyfriend to take your call. I told you I'm a big deal. Apparently. She took my call.
It did happen.
It did happen.
Verified. It's verified.
Like 7 foot tall and like muscles or anything, is he?
He's only 6'3".
Only.
Oh, only. Okay, cool.
How much can he bench? Because I'm sure it's that.
How much can he bench?
I don't know.
Well, he doesn't have to worry because, I mean, Sydney, if you remember the end of the call and I was introducing my daughter and how she was cheering for Wisconsin, I had a dad moment, kind of a senior moment hey, before I tell you what I said and you judge me, all you guys, I am a professionally certified idiot. And I stuck my foot in my mouth and I introduced Mackenzie as she was cheering for Wisconsin and I was cheering for Nebraska. So,
well, at least you're honest.
I'm honest. I'm no longer
right,
as big a deal, but I'm still, if Sydney's mom is watching, deal. I'm still the number one fan. Anyway, enough nonsense. Back to that fifth set. Nebraska battles back. How do those feelings change? You talk about staying in the moment, but now Nebraska's battled back. do those feelings change?
I mean, I think I did as a team, for me individually as well. I think we did a really good job of staying in the moment and taking it one at a time. And like, I think we expected them to come back. So it wasn't like shocking. We didn't panic. And I mean, we've been in moments like that so many times over the course of our career that we knew how to handle it. It was like at practice. We always played drills where it's 15-15, national championship point. Like we put ourselves in those situations a lot. So it was like we've been there before.
Yeah.
How many times have you gone back and watched that match?
I actually have only rewatched it one time. But sometimes when I'm sleeping, I can hear my dad watching out in the living room. I think he's watched 5 times. So
okay, so
we need to talk to Dad here.
Dads will rewatch that video, especially these 4 video dads. Okay, so it is okay, and we're not all crazy for silently watching club videos.
I don't know about you, the rest of you guys. So I had something else going on, recorded the match, went on total social media blackout so that I could watch it and not have it spoiled. My oldest daughter and I started watching it at 11 o'clock thinking, hey, Wisconsin's got this, be over in 3. And I think it was 1:30, 2 in the morning before the match finally wrapped up. And I still think that is one of the best sporting events I've ever watched. That match was just phenomenal.
It was.
I can't imagine what it felt like to play in that match.
My wife and I and my oldest daughter and her boyfriend were at Olive Garden of all places, and in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and we were sitting there watching because they had it on all the TVs, and everybody was cheering and everybody. It was so much fun. It was a blast, and it was still COVID-esque, so there was half of Olive Garden was closed down. But there were still people there, and there were still kids there watching. Like it's so cool to see how Wisconsin, fans like stick together, and wherever you go, it's kind of like Green Bay and Wisconsin Badgers and the Brewers. It's just a huge clique of people, and everybody gets together, and we all watch sports and drink. Other than that, that's my story on it.
So with that game, I have to imagine there's a lot of pressure, right? I mean, you've been playing for 5 years, you know what you're doing, obviously, but now you're playing for the national championship. It's the first time, it's the first opportunity in school history to bring home, that championship. Does the pressure, is it different? How does it feel? I mean, from the locker room out to the court, what's that pressure like, and how did you handle it?
Yeah, I think just going into my last year, I knew that it was my last shot. So as a whole, there was a lot more pressure on that season. And I think that just knowing it was our last chance to bring that national championship, like while we were still there, kind of lit a fire up our butt. But I mean, we had this saying, like almost every day that we talked about, is that pressure is a privilege. And I think Billie Jean King said that. But it's just like,
I'm going to write that down.
I am actually writing that down as we speak.
Pressure is a privilege.
Yeah, like pressure is a good thing. With it comes opportunity. And like pressure moments.
Throwing them all out there.
Yeah.
Pressure moments are what you play for. Like they're supposed to be fun. And I think that in those moments, you just trust in all the training that you put in. You trust your teammates. You trust the game plan. And you just go for it. Like you let it rip. You don't play with fear. Like you prepared. Just have fun and go for it.
It sounds like you guys, and maybe this is across the board, I don't know, but it sounds like you guys had a lot of mental coaching, almost as much as what you did the physical coaching.
Yeah, and I think mental is at least as important as the physical part. And I think Wisconsin did a really good job of providing us with resources and training. Like we had things called like adversity school, where we'd sit in the film room and Kelly would say, okay, how are you going to react if the bus breaks down and your pregame routine is 20 minutes shorter, and just put ourselves through exercises like that. And how are we going to react to moments like that? So yeah, overall, we definitely worked on our mental stuff a lot.
Wow, that was really cool. Really cool.
So you've won the national championship. You've settled down. What is Sydney Hilley doing now? In the volleyball world, what are you doing? Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so I got back from playing professionally in Puerto Rico around the end of July. That was my second professional experience. I also played in Turkey for a little bit right after I graduated. But now I'm doing a lot of coaching. I recently got into doing a lot of private lessons, running camps. So that's been super fun. I've really enjoyed sharing my knowledge with people. I mean, me, Grace, Dana, and Barnes all were members of the national championship team. We ran a camp together. We're going to call it the Natty Champs Camp. It's going to be an annual thing. But it's really fun to have girls and boys like look up to you and want to learn and become great volleyball players. So I think that's just been something that I've really been enjoying this past month or two since I've been home, and I really want to get into it more.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
awesome.
Sydney, so tell us a little bit more about your coaching. I mean, you went from helping your team win this national championship, and now that you're removed from the court, at least at the collegiate level, now you're helping other athletes like younger girls, younger guys. Like you said, those kids that are looking up to you. What exactly does your coaching dial in on when it comes to the athletes that you're looking at providing your services to?
Yeah, so right now I'm doing some in-person stuff, so like private one-on-one lessons or camps or clinics, that kind of stuff. But I also started doing some virtual coaching as well, just because I wanted to be able to reach more kids. And there's a lot of people who like want to connect with me who are out of the area. And like, I remember when I was younger, my mom had Lindsay Berg fly in, who was one of the Olympic setters, and like she worked with me. And I wanted to give kids that opportunity without like having to pay for the travel and stuff like that. So one of the things I'm doing is called the virtual setter coach subscription, where it's like a monthly subscription where they can ask me as many questions as they want, send me as many videos as they want, and they're going to get feedback from me tailored to them. And I came up with the idea because I wanted a coach like that all the time. I mean, I'd go in the gym, I'd film myself, and I'd be like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? And now kids can have that opportunity to ask someone who knows and kind of develop a relationship with kids. Like I've been working with some for like 5-6 months now, and like being able to see them progress, even though we're not in person, has been super cool.
Yeah,
That is cool.
that's amazing. That's awesome. So, I mean, you said something about setting. Do you only work with setters? Do you work with hitters? Do you work with defensive players? Do you work with athletes outside of volleyball as well?
Yeah, so my virtual setting coach subscription, I've only done with setters so far. I'm looking to expand that to like recruit more players in. So like maybe a Dana Recchi, having her be able to coach middles that way virtually. But when I do in-person lessons or film review, I do all positions.
Awesome.
Very good.
Yeah. So how can people find out more about where you do this at, or if they wanted more information, where could they get that at?
Yeah, if you see that little banner at the bottom.
Oh, look at that ticker. Who made that ticker? Who made that
That's
ticker?
fancy.
It
Yeah.
is fancy.
So I have a website, sydneyhilley.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Setting with Sid. Those are my main sources of communication.
Do you do privates like all year round now? Is that a thing? Like when it and obviously, are you only doing it in Minnesota then? Is that for like face to face? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so far I've been doing it all the time since I've been home, and it's been in Minnesota. I am going to Madison next week. I have a couple of lessons lined up there. But people can also ask me to come travel out to them. I am willing to do that. It just gets more expensive there, and so I don't want to, make that pricey for people. So, I mean, whenever I am in a different area, I make sure to like post it and see if anyone's interested.
Volleyball parents know about expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
if you don't yet, you'll find out, or stay tuned and we'll tell you about it.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to start selling my organs or something to pay for this thing. It is so expensive. I mean, whenever we got started in travel volleyball, somebody just said club volleyball. And I thought, well, you got boys and girls club, and then you got another club. So it's kind of the same thing. I didn't realize all the practicing, all the travel, all the expense that came along with that. And it's been absolutely incredible. I'm not complaining about the expense whatsoever. It has been so much fun. I'm probably having way more fun than Mackenzie is with it right
You
now.
have to.
But
can see
speaking
that, yeah.
about your virtual coaching, that's actually how I found you. Was your mom posted something in our group about the setting with Sid, so I went out there and joined it. And so I show Mackenzie like everything. We'll sit down probably once a week, and I'm like, "Hey, look at this video Sydney released," and talk about it. But I'm over there with like a notepad, like making notes and everything. But it's honestly very, very interesting, the things that you talk about, because the stuff that you share and the way that you communicate it just makes so much sense, and it's so much deeper than anything that I've ever seen. I can sit and watch games all day long, but I don't know exactly what's going on as far as, hey, rotate this way, rotate that way, move your feet this way, this many steps, keep your eyes here, watch for these type of blocking schemes and things of that nature. It's just absolutely amazing, the stuff that you're doing. I've actually thought about signing myself up just so I can learn more about setting, because my daughter's a setter, so I'm always trying to learn.
There's another avenue, Sydney.
Yeah,
sell it
coaching
to
the
the parents so they understand what's going on. Or maybe
Well,
we
you know,
don't
actually,
out there
what's
submitting
going
a
on.
video of me trying to set the ball. That would be.
I'd like to see that, Matt.
I think that's a good point, guys. And I'm curious, Sydney, your take on this. How important is it for parents, especially setter parents, to really understand the position?
I mean, I think it's definitely important, especially if you're trying to give your kid advice. Like, I mean, when I did private lessons, my mom came to every single one. She'd be out on the court. She'd be listening to what the coach was saying. And so, like, if she told me feedback after, I knew she was credible and she knew what she was talking about. But, like, as a kid, you're probably not going to want to listen to a parent who might not know about the proper technique, right? Like, they want to listen to a coach. They want to listen to someone who knows. So, like, if you guys do end up going to practices or like private lessons, and like really try to listen and like understand what the coaches are talking about so that you can communicate with your kid. I think that's important.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think that's a key point right there, because you have, I mean, obviously for us, we're so involved with the camera side of it and filming and, trying to produce highlights of our daughters and teams and things like that. But I mean, you do have parents who maybe not even or realize that they can get a little bit closer, get a little bit more knowledge just by, like you said, listening a little closer, trying to pick up on key things that coaches are saying in these practices, and maybe try to help reemphasize some of that later down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I mic'd up my daughter and the libero for our club team. I had no idea. I had no idea the amount of talking that happens on the court. And we're literally like 10 feet from the girls.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. I learned so much just listening to calls and where the ball is supposed to go. I had no idea. So yeah, it's the more you can learn as a parent, I think is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a fascinating sport once you start to understand it. And I learned, I had one of my daughter's club coaches had me be an assistant coach during her 5th grade team. And I learned so much about the sport from doing that. It's incredible. It really is, how many decision points and the communication at each decision point happen on every play. And, to that point, Sydney, in your coaching, in your virtual coaching, you had mentioned how Wisconsin had done such a great job on the mental aspect. Do you also work on the mental aspect in your virtual coaching?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a lot of what girls bring up is like, how do I become mentally tougher? How do I perform under pressure? How do I become a better leader? And that's stuff I've experienced, and I'm able to give them direct feedback on like my journey, because everyone struggles with stuff like that. And so just to be able to hear another story of someone who's gone through it really helps.
Yeah, you
So
certainly
for parents,
have that ability. Yeah.
So for
go ahead.
parents like us, right, we may have daughters that experience some of those same things that you're talking about. So, and hopefully we have the eyes and ears of many parents that have daughters that play the sport of volleyball. What's your best advice that you could give to a parent to help their kid, to help their athlete through the mental side of this? Because we pick up, we pick up, we drop off, we fund, and we support all these different ways. And the one part that's a really big key that gets missed a lot, that doesn't get talked about enough, is the mental health aspect. So what can we do for our girls on the mental health side that may bring a little bit better positive outlook on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say make sure you talk to them about how they're talking to themselves. So self-talk is what I call it. So a lot of the times if like you're playing bad, you make a mistake, usually what's going through your head is, I suck, oh my gosh, like I'm playing so bad today, stuff like that. But to be able to like change how you're talking to yourself and be like, say something constructive, whether that's, I'm going to hold my finish next time, or you got this, keep working, just reframing things to a more positive way of saying it in your mind can help a lot. But then just as parents as well, I'd say like after games, like when you're giving feedback, it's not about if you won, it's not about if you had 20 kills, it's did you have good effort, did you have a good attitude, were you a good teammate, stuff like that you can talk about rather than being upset with a loss or a poor physical performance, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think you see that a lot on the court, especially after a big game, a big loss, a bad performances. Girls automatically default to being down on themselves, and then that just sends themselves or the team into a spiral for the rest of the tournament or whatever it may be. So I think doing exactly what you're saying, hopefully we can, as parents, kind of start changing the framework of how that plays out and maybe come out with a better positive outlook on flipping that script on the bad things that may happen during the tournament and changing those into positive reinforcements that may hopefully eventually lead to, a lot better statistics around the mental health side of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Sydney, you've mentioned your mom being at the privates. You mentioned that your dad has been out in the living room rewatching the national championship. What role did your parents play in your development, your club life, and moving on? How did they get involved in that or stay?
Yeah. So my mom actually played volleyball in college, and my dad played basketball in college. So both of them had all three kids play those sports. So my older brother, me, and my younger sister, we both played basketball and volleyball. My dad was more of the basketball guy, so he coached all three kids in basketball, and he was a pretty tough coach. Like, he got on us, and I think that may be why all three kids gravitated towards volleyball and ended up in basketball. But yeah, my mom brought me to tryouts. I think I was 9, and I didn't even want to go, but she was like, if you make the team, like, I'm going to get you a new pair of shoes. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
I don't know about any of the other dads here, but I've totally done that.
Yeah, so,
Guilty.
And it works.
So I was bribed into it, but I mean, it was the best decision ever. When I made my first club team, I stayed at that same club for 9 years. I only played at that one club. There were other clubs in the area that may have been higher profile, but this one was close and I loved it. And we didn't start out as like a super big club that was winning a lot of things, but as I got older, we started qualifying at the open level. We won a national championship. We definitely got better as it went on. But my mom and dad, they were at everything. They were driving me to practice. They were watching practice. They were coming to all of our tournaments. They were chaperoning events. They were a huge impact on me and a huge support system throughout my entire career.
So along those lines, what did they do well, and what could us as sports parents do better?
Yeah, so I think that they just did a really good job of being supportive, and they would give me advice or not, depending on what I wanted. My dad was someone who would push, and he really cared about winning or losing. And my mom was the one that was like, did you work hard? Did you do your best? Then good. So I had kind of both sides, and I think that every kid's kind of different. Like, the way that my dad may have coached, like, my brother might have not been good for him, but it was good for me. So it's all about, like, knowing your kid and what they respond to. But I had a balance in, like, the fun part, but also the work your butt off part. And so I think it was a perfect mix for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back a little bit too, because you talked about, at your first club or the club that you stuck with for 9 years, I guess, quote unquote, not really quote, but experienced some adversity in the club initially. And then as you stayed, y'all got better. Y'all started doing a lot better. What are some advice that you can give for girls who may be in a club that they're experiencing some of that same adversity? Maybe they're in a club that's not doing very well starting out. Maybe their age group, maybe their peers, is just not really, things aren't clicking now. What advice would you give to them going forward from that point?
I mean, I don't think that you should just, like, give up and, like, try to leave clubs if, like, you have a bad season or you're not accomplishing the goals that you want. Like, if you have great coaches around you, you love your teammates, like, that's all the reason to stay and to keep believing that you guys can get better. And even if you're not winning in open, that doesn't mean that you need to leave. Like, you can still improve, you can still have fun, you can still compete at all the different levels as long as you're happy and you're enjoying it. But really, it's up to what their goals are. If they feel like they need to be competing at open and that club's not, then maybe they do need to leave. So it's all about like what your goals are, I would say.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
You talked quite a bit about your mom and dad. You're obviously on with 4 dads right now. So specifically speaking about the dad, and this is maybe kind of fun. You've been to a lot of tournaments, right, for club. Mm-hmm. Parents are lined right around the court. Parents do some crazy stuff. What is the most annoying thing that your dad has done? Or if your dad's super cool and he doesn't do anything annoying, maybe a dad that you've seen or a parent that's been around. What's the most annoying thing as a player at a tournament? What's the most annoying thing that a dad can do to really get under their daughter's skin?
Yeah,
not that we're doing it intentionally, but
this
you
is
know.
great.
Wait,
I
you have
dozen of them that I do, and she's gonna say it.
Well,
You have to give a warning so that way none of us get offended right now, because I'm sure what you're about to say we've all
I'm not
done.
gonna get offended, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one of the things is when they yell at the scorekeepers, they're like, score, score. I'm sure you guys all do.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like
I
that.
used to do it.
I don't like it
anymore. I don't
That
anymore.
one, yelling at the refs. Don't like that.
Yep.
I mean, let me do that.
I may or may not have been guilty at one point in time.
You're the guy that yells double. Double.
Yeah. I think like the worst one though is like, I'm not saying my dad did this, but like if they come up after a loss or something and then they start talking bad about people who are on your team or like blaming people, I think that's the number one thing is trying to blame people or like point fingers.
So you mentioned your dad was very win focused. Did he kind of mellow a bit throughout your career? He started maybe being the really loud dad and very intense, and he kind of just chilled a bit as you got older?
Yeah, 100%. I think as I got older, he actually got like more superstitious too. Like he was like, okay, I'm not wearing this sweatshirt anymore because Wisconsin lost when I wore this sweatshirt. So like, or I don't know, just stuff like that. Like he would stand up at certain points and not others. But yeah, he definitely calmed out. He stopped being as vocal, but he still did care a lot. He was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every dad's got the stare. Every dad's got that one stare where when you look at your daughter, she knows what you mean by that. By the look you give her, she knows. You're not saying anything, but you're saying a lot.
Yeah. That's exactly why Mackenzie does not look at me during a game.
Same.
Oh, she doesn't even look. She doesn't pay attention to anything I say now.
But does she? Sydney, do you hear us on the sidelines?
I mean, maybe at club you could hear, but like when I was playing at Wisconsin, like everything is just,
it's just
like no.
Yeah. Yep. So, you know, staying on the topic of parents, how hard should parents push at this age? You know, we're talking about the club, that 13 to 15, 16-year-old. How hard should a parent push? You obviously had great parents behind you, you know, pushed you in dual sports. How hard should they push? When do you know that it's too much?
Yeah, I think that's a tough question because I think every kid's going to be different. Mm-hmm. But for me, as a kid, I was very highly motivated. Like I would set goals for myself that I wanted to accomplish. Like my mom actually found like a list I made that was like, I want to become a national championship, or I want to become a national champion. I want to become an All-American. I want to do this. And I wrote it when I was like 10. And so she found that. And so like, I think if your kid's not really motivated to want to play or doesn't have fun playing, then it's kind of hard to push. But if they have goals, then I feel like it's more about it. Like, what are you going to do today to accomplish those goals, kind of thing.
Would you say it's more like a vision board?
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote it on like a piece of paper and folded it up, and I would like look at it before I went to bed. But I don't know. Maybe I was a weird kid.
No, not at all. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you
looked like it turned out all right? So
yeah.
Did you go to your parents with goals, or did your parents come to you with goals for volleyball?
I'd say both, because I was really open with them. Like I'd talk about like how practice went, what I was working on, like what I wanted to accomplish. Like we were really open about that kind of stuff just because, I don't know, just as when we were growing up, we talked about sports all the time, and that's like kind of what brought us all really close. And so we talked a lot about it. And so I remember I was in Orlando for AAU Nationals, and that's when I found out what an All-American was. I was like, what? Like, I want that. And I told my mom on the plane ride home, like, I want that. And then the next year I ended up getting it. But, like, stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what came first, or I shouldn't say what trumped what? At what point did it change, or if did it change? You played basketball and you played volleyball. Did you play basketball and club volleyball? And which one took precedent? Because I know in Wisconsin there's overlap with both of those.
Yeah, so it definitely got tough because I was playing club volleyball, AAU basketball, high school basketball, high school volleyball. So I played up until my sophomore year of high school. So I was on varsity my freshman year for basketball and volleyball. And then I knew I was already committed at that point to go to Wisconsin. And I was like, all right, it's time to focus only on volleyball. I still liked it a lot, but I think I was always better at volleyball, and I knew that's where I had the biggest potential. So yeah, I committed in 9th grade. So after that, basketball was done for me.
Somehow I feel like you could probably still beat all 4 of us 4-on-1 in basketball.
Hands down.
It's been a while.
Hey, so speaking of basketball, go ahead, Jim.
I was going to switch topics just a little bit and ask about how did you balance all the sacrifice you had to make growing up, the proms, homecomings, social engagements, especially club volleyball season. It overlaps with most of that stuff. It's a huge sacrifice for the girls. How did you balance that with what you had going on?
Yeah, so I mean, time management is huge. Like being able to do school, do volleyball, be social, do whatever sport you're doing. I think that if you're doing volleyball, you're doing volleyball. Like you shouldn't be thinking about like what you have to do the next day or what you're going to wear to the football game. Like just staying in the moment with that, but also just know what your priorities are. Like I missed my second half of senior year. I didn't go to prom ever. Junior year is because there was a national qualifier tournament, and senior year is because I was already at college. So like there was stuff that I had to give up, but I knew what I wanted. But it's not all like you need to only do things related to volleyball. Like you have to have time for fun too. So it's really hard to balance, but just keep in mind your priorities. And then while you're doing something, be in the moment.
Yeah, I love that answer. Fantastic.
Yeah, it is good.
So Sydney, you're 24 now, just had a birthday like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, what would 24-year-old Sydney tell 15-year-old Sydney?
Yeah, it's a good question because about that time, that's when I was deciding where I was going to play college volleyball. So I would say just trust your gut because that's how I made the decision to end up at Wisconsin, and that was the best decision I've ever made. But also, like, I think enjoy everything you're doing. I mean, in club volleyball, it's just so fun. It's so different. You'll never experience something like that again. Just the away tournaments, bonding with all your teammates, staying in the same hotel room, all that kind of stuff is just super fun. And you got to soak it all up when you can because that just doesn't happen. I mean, in volleyball related, I would say make sure you work on blocking and digging and serving, not just setting. Like I would go in and I would just set. That's all I would do. But like when I got to college, I was like, oh, maybe I should have worked on this other stuff. So just being well-rounded, I would say.
Yeah, Dan, do
so
you
brought up
something to ask about blocking?
I do. Your stats are ridiculous across the board. I mean, phenomenal. But you only have 13 solo blocks?
Yeah, well, that's all.
What is that all about?
My middles are doing their job, and they're not managing solo.
That's absolutely. That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
That's an excuse.
Hey, real quick before we move on, the last episode, and it wasn't live, but we talked about how important is team bonding for the girls.
We did talk about that,
and we did talk about that. So. That was just us talking from our perspective, some dads who have a lot of opinions, right? But from a player who's been there, done that, from club to high school to college and pro, how important is it at the level that the girls that we're kind of talking to right now, that 11, 13 to 15, 16, 17 range, how important is it for them to, as a team, as a club team, to do team bonding activities, and how does that eventually translate to performance on the court?
I would say it's super important. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be best friends with each other. That's not realistic, but like, you gotta get to know one another, respect one another, like get to know where they're coming from. We did this super cool thing in Wisconsin where we had a DISC meeting, it was called. So it was basically a personality test kind of thing, for how you like to be talked to in stressful situations. So a D was like a dominant personality, like really fiery, competitive. And I was interpersonal, like they really like relationships and working together. And S was steady, like they're just calm the whole time. C was compliant, they like stats, analyzing things. And we got to kind of get to know each person and like why they respond a certain way, and then based on their personality, how to best communicate with them. I'm not saying that these club girls have to take personality tests or anything, but just like finding out like how your teammates like to be talked to in different situations. Like a D on my team, the dominant personality, I'm going to give them a challenge, like go get it, like you go ace her. Or someone who's an I, an interpersonal person, I'm going to go up, I'm going to give them like a long high five, and I'm going to say, we're in this together, like let's keep working. We talk to them in different ways to bring out the best in them. So that was something that I loved doing in Wisconsin, and I think I got way better at being able to communicate with everybody on my team in that way.
That's amazing. So which one are you?
Yeah, it is.
I'm a CD, so I like stats and following directions, so eating up all that feedback, and then the D is the more competitive, so CD. Yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, can we go back just a minute?
Too.
Do what?
I love that you remember that too.
Oh, I remember everyone on my team.
You remember the 13 solo blocks?
Yeah, no.
So I have to ask, my daughter's a libero. What was Lauren?
He was also a CD.
Fantastic. All right.
Wow. That's awesome. If we can go back just for a minute, we were talking about what 24-year-old Sydney would say to 15-year-old Sydney, and you said that you would tell her to enjoy that time in club ball. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you struggled with? Looking back, did you not enjoy it so much?
No, I definitely did, but I guess I didn't realize once you get to college, it's different. Like, I don't know, you're with the same girls throughout club most of the time. You guys are growing up together, just being together all the time, going to all these away tournaments, just like, I don't know. I feel like that should be appreciated. Like, you're never going to get that again, and just really enjoy where you are, because oh man, I miss club tournaments where I had 4 matches a day and I was going to the concession stand eating a cheeseburger in between games. Like, that just doesn't happen. Stuff.
It's all Asahi bowls now.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah. So honestly, Sydney, I'd love to have you on at some point, and we could do a juxtaposition of club, school, college ball, and just kind of walk through that experience. I don't think we have time today, but at some point in the future, if you're willing, I think we'd love to have you back on to talk about that.
Sure.
And we've brushed the surface on a number of topics that you've just got such fantastic perspective on. It would be great to have more opportunity to talk.
Yeah, we would definitely like to do a follow-up episode for sure. I mean, because we hadn't even gotten through everything that we wanted to talk about, just because there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But one more quick question. We'll hit a lightning round, and if we can. But one more quick question is, what are some of the most valuable lessons that you have learned from your toughest coaches or toughest opponents? What have you learned, or from the toughest pressures that you face? What are some of the things that you've learned in those moments?
Yeah, I think being a C personality, I used to overthink things a lot. I used to get overloaded with information and play while thinking a lot. And I think that as I grew up, I got advice to just let it rip, which means go play, no fear, just don't think, just ball out kind of thing. And I think that mentality kind of stayed with me my entire career after I heard that advice. It's just when you're playing, you're not thinking, you're just balling. And so for me, that was super important, just because I don't play as well when I'm thinking. So just being able to trust your abilities and you know what you're doing and just play at that point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We want to do a quick lightning round. We have like a couple questions here. And then we're going to try to bring our girls on, say hi, ask a question. But first question, random question. Have you ever, in a tournament, on the court, worn sunglasses?
Yes.
Well, do tell. We have
Please
to
explain.
Yes.
Okay. So I used to get really bad migraines. And so when that happened, it was usually because I was like under bright lights and I would like start seeing things. I couldn't see the ball. It was all blurry. So I ended up playing like a full day with like these pink sunglasses that my mom had in the car just so I could see the ball better. We actually had a dad on our team that started telling fans that I was a blind setter and that I was
I love that.
That's a dad thing right there.
yeah, so
I like that dad. He's honorary dad of the week.
Right. Next question. Have you ever been to Wisconsin Dells?
yes.
Did you win any awards at Wisconsin Dells?
Awards?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We may have heard that you won some special awards at Wisconsin Dells.
What was that? I don't remember.
We don't know. We're asking you questions.
I can tell you. I don't know what I.
We're gonna have to follow up with our
With our source?
yes,
With
with
our
our
source,
scores. There was supposed to be a story with that.
Well, what's it called? Maybe it will spark my memory.
I don't know. They just said Wisconsin Dells. Ask Sydney about Wisconsin Dells. Ask her what she won. That it wasn't volleyball related.
Was it the recycling competition? We did win that.
What was that about?
The team that had the most bags of recycling won like these t-shirts. It's like Go Green. And so we went through the entire Wisconsin Dells thing and like took all the recyclables and we ended up winning. So maybe that's what that's about.
Could be.
Well, congratulations. Yes.
Thanks.
Congratulations on that win. What are you not good at?
A lot of things. Let's see.
I don't believe that.
No,
I don't either.
Yeah.
I have a feeling
mean,
if you applied yourself, if you were really interested, you'd be good at pretty much anything you wanted to be.
I mean, I don't even know what it's called. I just know it's something genome, but you got a degree in it, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say maybe anything like artistic. I'm not like the most artistic person ever, so like crafty stuff isn't really my jam. But I'll try. Just not very good.
What about your favorite book?
Oh, I have a lot of favorite books. Right now, I'm rereading Twilight series.
Oh my.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
My wife and daughters have enjoyed Twilight. Movies are okay. I never read the books, but they definitely enjoy those.
You can try them out. They're good.
What
All right,
about
hey,
favorite
Sydney.
movie?
Oh, good.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie. This is gonna be weird. Okay, well, one is Twilight. The second one is Ratatouille.
Really?
Oh, Ratatouille.
That's like my comfort movie. I don't know why. I love it though.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it once.
Respect that.
It's great.
Yeah, this house plays Ratatouille all the time.
Yeah.
One of my wife's favorite movies. I can't explain it. Well, she likes food.
Maybe it's a Wisconsin thing.
It could be.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Hey, so does your dad tell dad jokes, and do you like dad jokes, or
Yeah.
at least the ones that he tells?
He's a really funny guy. Like, he makes me laugh a lot. I don't know if they would be like typical dad jokes, but he's very witty.
All right. I think that's all of the lightning round questions. I think we're going to try to wrap it up. We are running out of time for today.
Yes, we are.
If you guys want to bring the girls on, I think we've got two that are available. Wanted to sit in and ask some questions.
I don't know, Dan, is any of them in the lobby?
I got no kids in the lobby.
Uh-oh. The kids have run away.
Yeah, no kids in the lobby. They're running up and down the halls right now. Weird.
Mine texted me and said she want to know if it was time. I said yes, and she hasn't looked at it.
So while we're waiting, I got one. While we're waiting, Jada just popped in. While we're waiting,
all right.
Sydney, I have an off topic or on topic club volleyball off the court question.
Okay.
What is the craziest thing that you girls have done, or you can remember that you guys did outside of the volleyball tournaments?
Oh boy, craziest thing.
Like, for instance, my daughter, when she was 15, we went to St. Louis for NEQ, and her setter got the Lime scooters, and they went around and went around Lime scooters without an adult. I mean, I knew they were doing it, but then they came back and realized they needed to have a driver's license. They needed to ride on the street. Like, they broke all these rules, and it's now an ongoing thing. It's funny as a funny joke. Do you have any stories like that you could tell?
I don't think we did anything that crazy. I mean, we did have team scavenger hunts where we were running around Wisconsin Dells doing stuff like that. But I don't think we ever broke any rules or anything like that. We were pretty well behaved.
All right. Then that's just.
Hey, one more good one. What is your best pregame routine?
Yeah, so I used to be someone who was really superstitious and had this long thing, if anything went wrong, I was thrown off for the day. But then it got shortened down. I have a 2-minute visualization thing, and then just warming up my hands on the wall, listening to music. That's about it. I make it short and sweet so that nothing can mess me up.
Yeah.
Like,
well, hey, I got Tegan ready, so I'm going to bring her on and let her ask her question.
Jim, Jada was on, but she disappeared. I think she got nervous.
No, she was trying to get her camera working. So.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
Hi.
Oh, Dan, you're muted.
Ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt.
I got her. I did have her. Hope I can't unmute her. There we go. We're good.
Just talk. You know, talking about.
All right.
Introduce yourself to
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Great. Been a good podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you guys got some questions for me.
Yes.
Who's going first?
Who's going to go first? Or no, Jada. I think Jada's going first.
Okay.
So, how did you balance taking D1 college classes and playing collegiate volleyball at the same time? Was there something you did as a kid that helped you through that, or was it just you got to college and it just clicked for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all started in high school too, with club volleyball and school and everything. But I think that having a planner was something that really helped me, writing down all my assignments, prioritizing things, but also eliminating distractions. When you're doing school, your phone's away, you're not thinking about volleyball, you're in the moment for what you're doing. Or if you're at volleyball, you're not thinking about school or any social events. You're where your feet are and you're just focused on what you're doing. And then just being really organized.
Okay, cool.
Next.
Tegan's up next.
Okay. What sacrifices did you have to make, to get to where you are today?
Oh, yeah, a ton. That's a good question. I mean, I talked about earlier, I didn't go to prom. I missed the second half of senior year. There's a lot of social events that I missed out on. But, I mean, I still made time for fun and stuff, but I also, knew what my priorities were. And so, I could have gone to prom, but I chose to graduate high school early and go to college so that I could start training with the team and be ready for that fall. So it's all, what your priorities are, and always make time for fun, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My next. Okay. I want to know what kept you motivated and determined all the time, because playing D1 I know can be super hard, and I just want to know what kept you really motivated.
Yeah, so at Wisconsin we all had the same goals, which was really cool to be around people who all wanted the same things, and that was to win a Big Ten championship and a national championship. And those were things that we thought about every single day and what motivated us to work our butts off in the gym or in the weight room or to watch film and just do those things that can make us better so that we can accomplish those goals. But then I also think being around teammates who wanted that so bad, I was motivated to accomplish those goals for them because I had so much love and care for them and I knew how much work they put into it that I was just motivated to be better for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good questions, guys.
Very awesome.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, Sydney.
Yeah, that's
Thank
fun.
you. That was awesome. Appreciate you doing that.
Hey, thank you for that, Sydney.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, thank
awesome.
you.
That was awesome. Just a quick recap, real quick. Sydney Hilley, national champion setter for Wisconsin Badgers, also has a virtual coaching program set up. Sydney, tell us again, how can they find you?
At that link down there.
There we go.
That's right.
SydneyHilley.com or on Facebook at Setting with Sid, right? And Instagram. Did you say Instagram as well?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. Settings.
Awesome. Very good. And I can speak from experience. Sign up for the newsletter. It's amazing. It comes out, I don't know, maybe a couple times a week it comes out. And it's always got a video, got great information on it. Definitely check it out. It's amazing.
So do you have that going to you, or do you have your daughter an email that goes to?
It goes to me. I'm trying to learn. I just share it with her. I'm just trying to, hey,
Number one
right
fan.
here, guys,
Number two-
right here.
Number
That's
one
right.
fan.
Yeah. But Sydney, do you think your mom will believe that I'm the number one fan?
I don't know.
Where am I missing it? I mean, I tried really hard.
I don't know. For 5 years, she came to every single game, drove 5 hours back. I don't know. You got to
Yeah.
waste.
That's a lot.
All right.
That's a
All
lot
You
to
got to put in
overcome
your
there.
time, Matt. You
Yeah.
got to put in your time. You
Yeah.
can't just
I
be the
do.
number one fan overnight, all right?
Yeah.
That's true. I'll keep trying. I'll set my goals
Put in
higher.
the work. Put in the work.
Start that visualization technique she was teaching.
Yeah,
us.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
you go.
There we go. I can do that. Well, hey, Sydney, thank you again so much. This has been
Thank you,
such an
Vic.
honor.
Thank
It
you
has
very
been
much.
A
Yes, thank
lot
you.
of fun for us as
Yes.
well. And we sincerely mean we hope that we can get you back because we didn't get
Oh, yeah,
through
sure.
half of some of the stuff that we wanted
Yeah.
to cover. So
It's true.
hopefully you had some fun and will come back for us, in the future and be able to finish
Yeah.
up this conversation.
Yeah, awesome. I had
Sure. Thank you
Great
very
time.
much.
looking
Awesome.
forward to you guys' next episodes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sydney.
Thank
All right,
you so
guys.
much.
Thanks for watching.
Gonna
Sydney,
do it.
thanks for coming on tonight. Bi-weekly. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yep.
You can catch the videos on our YouTube channel, which is Volleyball Video Dads. Just YouTube it. You'll find it. Otherwise, the stream also drops on our Volleyball Dads group page. It's not a page. It's a group on Facebook. And then you guys can watch us there. Other than that, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Again, thanks, Sydney, for coming on. And
Thanks, Sydney.
have a good night, everybody.
Yep.
Good night.
Thanks.